I actually want to thank you, man. By the way,
Where is this going?
it's going nowhere. It's perfectly fine. Earlier today, Alex texted me saying that we should be friends on the Steam Deck, and I told him what my name was. It's the same name that I always use across everything. But anyway, once he figured that out, he sent me a friend request, and I accepted it. And that reminded me that I should check out the sales for the day. So I went over to the sales page and realized that all three Mass Effects and all three Tomb Raiders were on sale. So I bought them. So without you, Alex, I would not have contributed to the ever growing capitalism in this country. And I want to thank you for that.
Wait, all the Tomb Raiders are on sale? Oh, they're cheap. Oh my God,
Dude,
they're
we're
so
about to
cheap.
share games. you're going to get them.
Well, I
Although,
have all three of them on the Xbox, so it doesn't really matter. I
you can
really should have.
also. That Tomb Raider bundle apparently gives you, like, it's every Tomb Raider 1 through, like, now.
Oh,
But
it is.
I,
Yeah, you're right.
I can't I can't play half of them on the Steam Deck because they're too old.
Oh, they even have Guardian of Light, which I'm pretty sure is like that top-down one that they did. Oh, no, it's not. Oh, yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is. Temple of Osiris, Guardian of Light, Tomb Raider 1 through like 5.
Oh, but it's the Guardian of Light's co-op. We won't be able to play at the same time.
We could just play that on
Although,
the Xbox.
well, it's also $1.49. I could just buy it separately so we could play at the same time. It's literally $1.49.
I can't look. I'm not buying this bundle because I won't be able to use half the games in them
Why won't you be able to use half the games?
because they don't show up on my Steam Deck.
Oh, oh,
Yeah,
oh.
it's
Yeah,
like
fair enough.
unsupported on there, so like then I'm just buying them for the computer like some fucking PC nerd, and I'm not gonna
Well,
go that route.
the one thing that I want to say, because you were thanking me for adding you as a friend, and I just want you to know
I didn't
that.
thank you for that. I said thank you for helping me contribute to capitalism.
Okay. All right, if that's where we're gonna go. But I just wanted to let you know that I texted you that question of what your Steam name was, and then I was like, it's got to be like Crook Irish. Yeah, I mean, it's got to be something like that. And then I looked it up, and there was only a few that came up, and I was like, that's got to be him. And so I friended you even before you responded, and I was like, oh, well, at least I got that one right. Otherwise, I would have randomly friended somebody.
Well, who else uses Crook Irish?
Yeah,
Nobody.
I mean, that is true.
Like I'm the only one out there. It works every time from fucking Halo to a porn site. Nobody else uses Crook Irish. So
I don't know why you had to bring up a porn site, but okay.
listen, sometimes you just gotta subscribe.
I'm gonna be really weirded out now if I'm ever on Pornhub and all of a sudden it's like uploaded by Crook Irish. I'm gonna be like, don't know how I feel about that one.
It just would be gay fucking midget clown porn. That's it. Okay, that's all I'm uploading.
Oh, on the note of midget clown porn, welcome everybody to the Crook Show.
This is
Uh,
Crook Show.
the format is gonna be a little bit different. We had some scheduling issues, and we only have one host tonight.
Murder
Crook.
betrayed us.
Murder betrayed us. Yeah, he didn't betray us. That's a lie.
Well, where's he at? Because he's not here.
He's doing murder.
Oh, good. Yeah, living up to that name.
Yeah, living up to the name.
So, are we gonna? You're the host, right? Apparently, the fucking.
No, 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 no. No, I'm. You invited me. I'm a special guest.
All right, then I'll do the host duties. Welcome to fucking Crook and
Yeah,
we're
see,
gonna
it's harder than you think when one of them, when one of the hosts is missing, huh?
Crook and blank present. Tonight we're gonna be talking about Tulpas. My name is Kenny Crook Irish Kirby. You may know me as that guy that just bought 6 games for under 40 or for under $35 on my Steam Deck, thanks to my friend cheering me on for my capitalist ideas. And I am joined today by special guest Alex.
I am special guest Alex, and I'm really upset that you keep crediting me for your capitalistic ideals and senses.
You know, it
I
was
had
more
nothing.
debt too. I was like, I
I,
don't mind
I
going
hadn't.
into debt
I
for this.
I don't even know if I can do the podcast anymore. I don't even. I'm so out of whack. I don't even know if I can do it. Let me ask you this.
Okay.
I have, as a friend of yours that helps you with the ruin of the human society, has a friend ever asked you for help with tulpomancy?
Uh, Actually, no. What is topomancy?
And apparently, not to, get too far ahead of ourselves, but from my understanding, tulpomancy is summoning a tulpa, which I know is not a great definition, but we're going to get into the definition of a tulpa. But think of a tulpa as well, I think you said it best. Like an imaginary friend that's not so imaginary.
Yeah, basically, tulpas are ghosts that people will into being. Like Freddy Cougar's kind of a good example, but not really.
Oh, is that who Friendy Cougar is?
Kind of. Freddy Cougar exists because everybody on Elm Street still believes in him.
No, no, I understand that, but the our notes have Friendy Krueger, and I was a little confused on who Friendy Krueger is.
I might have just
No,
misspelled Freddy.
I'm just trying to make a joke, bud.
Wow. I'm glad this did not just get super awkward.
Well, let me ask you this: have you ever wanted to become a tulpomancer?
Yes.
Have you ever asked what the fuck? We already went over that. Well, um, so yeah, I guess by the end of this episode, you'll at least have some cursory knowledge on how to summon your own tulpa.
Oh, I see what I
Um,
did there. Friendy Cougar. Like he's your friend.
oh, you did that on purpose?
Yeah, I probably did that on
Oh,
purpose.
now it's even more awkward because that's horrendous.
That sounds like something I would do. Friendy Krueger. See?
All
Yeah.
right. All right. So let's go into a quick breakdown and kind of definition history of tulpas. Um, so the term tulpa was coined by the 20th century theosophist Helen Blavatsky, I even
Blat Blat
Blavatsky,
Blavatsky. It's
Blavatsky.
she's actually like the fucking she was what's his face? The dude that was really crazy. Um Aleister Crowley before Aleister Crowley was cool. She
Oh, are you
developed
talking about oh, what's
Madame
his name?
Blavatsky. Okay, so basically a lot of her ideals
Rasputin.
no, not Rasputin.
Oh, you
Although I think
never mind.
Rasputin probably took ideas from her. Uh
Probably they overlap. So, just for everybody out there, Helena lived from 1831 to 1891, and she was a Russian mystic who co-founded, I guess, kind of the definition or the study of philosophy. Which, just for everybody out there, because I had to look it up, um, are philosophies that maintain that a knowledge of God may be achieved through spiritual ecstasy, direct intuition, or special individual relations. So it's just one way of knowing God. That the way to attain God, like knowledge of God, is through these kind of specific, I guess, like rituals. Would you call them like rituals and spirituality?
what, for theosophists?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically what modern day Satanism, which was ripped out of the hands of Crowley and fuck, LaVey, I believe name. And the idea is that God as we know him doesn't exist. and neither does the devil. But we could walk these things called like spiritual planes, like the astral plane, and we're actually going to talk about it in our spiritual dream series. But it's the planes between dimensions. So
Gotcha.
Crowley's belief in the earlier Theosophists is that trying to access these planes bring you closer to like the source of life.
Okay. So, as you said before, tulpas are thought form energy ghosts. So, before I go any further, I just want to make clear that they're not ghosts as in dead people coming back as ghosts, right?
No, they're imaginary friends is the best way to put them.
They're just ethereal. They're not like physical per se. So when we say ghosts, we just mean kind of like the form of a ghost, but
Yeah,
not, not a, you know, dead person that's coming back to our plane of existence.
I think I think that would just be called a zombie, dude.
No, no, ghosts are ethereal individuals that have died, right? That
Yeah.
come back to the material plane. So I'm just saying in this definition, tulpas are not ghosts. You're not summoning some type of like spirit from another world.
What? Okay, you're creating. You are creating life when you create a tulpa. And so like basically what you're doing is you're practicing the magic ritual, which if you guys remember from I think the last episode, magic is really hard, but they're essentially bringing an ethereal being into uh through thinking hard enough about it.
Yeah, through so yep, so it's a mind-made body um of one's fruits of a contemplative life. So meditation, concentration. And this practice was pulled from the Tibetan Book of the Dead and used commonly in Western magic. Um, so, just out of curiosity, because you obviously do a lot more research on these topics than I do, um, if it's something that's pulled from the Tibetan Book of the Dead and is used commonly in Western magic, I'm assuming there's still a lot of like maybe not case studies is the right word, but there are still like Eastern tulpas, right? I mean, I would imagine.
There's
No,
still Western tulpas. I mean,
no, I
tulpas
know, but
are a thing that supposedly exists all over the world.
gotcha. Okay, so in the 1905 book Thought Forms, Theos Theos. Oh my God, I'm having such a problem with that word. Theosophist Annie Besant organized tulpas into three classes: forms in the shape of the person who creates them, forms that resemble objects or people and may become ensouled by nature, spirits, or the dead, and forms that resemble inherent qualities from the astral plane, for example, emotions.
So that second one is kind of important because you could basically build a shell for someone who is dead.
Oh my God. So you could do wafus.
You can, you know what? Some people believe that their wafu is real enough that it's their wife. I've seen pictures of people taking them out to restaurants and shit. And in that sense, that could be a tulpa.
That's fascinating. So what do you mean in that sense? Aren't they actual tulpas then at that point? I
Yeah.
mean, that person is essentially willing. I mean, I'm assuming they have conversations with them. I'm assuming their wafu talks, converses, reciprocates it to them, right?
Well, now you're asking the real questions. Because reality, as we perceive it, is different for each and every person, right? So who's to say that though we see a pillow, he doesn't see something completely different? Like if
Interesting.
he's poured his emotions and thoughts into this waifu, it's as real to him as a girl is to you or us, which is
I
non-existent.
I also love that you use the male gender for that he because we all know women don't have fucking waifus.
No, they just have dildos that they name their waifus.
All right, and then we have the occultist William Walker, which in his book *The Human Aura* described tulpas as simple ethereal objects emanating from the auras surrounding people, generating from their thoughts and feelings. But later he would expound on this in *The Clairvoyance and Occult Powers*, a book written by him, by claiming that practitioners can produce thought forms from their auras. These tulpas will basically serve as astral projections. They may or may not look like the people projecting them, and they may appear as illusions that can only be seen by those with, quote, awakened astral senses, unquote.
All right,
So,
let's wait. Let's go off the beaten path for a second. And Max
okay.
may get mad when he hears this part, but maybe you should read. You're pretty good at weaving in and out of the story without following it bullet for bullet point.
Well, I mean, we should talk about that off air
Yeah.
and with Max.
No, I'm not. No. I mean, we're not making any ideas here. I'm just saying you're doing a good job.
Um, so this is interesting. So, just out of curiosity, again, because you've done more research on this, did Basant and Blavatsky, did they think that tulpas could be seen by other people? Because Atkinson obviously did, right? That it was possible for these to be seen by like a third
Uh,
party.
I don't know if I really have the answer to.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough. Um. Yeah. Okay. And then we have another description by another, this time a spiritualist. And just for everybody who wants to know, just real quick, Besant she lived from 1847 to 1933. She was British. Um, and I guess on a good note, she was all down for women's rights. So, something we could use more of nowadays.
She was
Um,
very progressive for it.
And then Atkinson, well, let's see here. He lived from 1862 to 1932. So yeah, so it kind of seems like Blavatsky, they were followers of Blavatsky, right? Because she died in 91. So they're kind of, and he was an American. Atkinson was an American cultist.
Well, all
Um,
the most of the occult stuff that we know nowadays stemmed from Blavatsky.
oh, she's kind of the mother of the occultist movement.
Yeah, no, she really
Mo-
is.
Interesting. I'll have to read more up on her. She seems like a very interesting woman.
I mean, she also did inspire the Nazis, but
Oh,
we'll just
she
look
did.
past that point. Yeah.
No, you shouldn't look past it. That's something that you should. So, just out of curiosity, was it kind of like a Nietzsche thing? Like, what was she herself an anti-Semitic, or did the Nazis like misconstrue her ideas to kind of fit their own warped
I mean,
propaganda?
is that even a question? All the Nazis ever did was misconstrue shit.
Okay, okay, I guess
Like
that's true. I
they took the fucking swastika, a fucking
symbol of peace, of
symbol of
Hindu
peace
peace.
in the Buddhist culture, and turned it into a symbol of killing.
Yeah, I guess
Like
that's true.
they subverted a ton of shit. So yeah, I can totally see Hitler reading like every other line in this fucking book, and then
I
being like,
honestly I honestly did not think that Nazis would come up in this conversation. Although I guess Nazis were really big, like they were really big into that kind of stuff, like trying to find like crazy mystic things, objects that could help them win the war and shit like that. Fucking crazy motherfuckers, all hyped up on speed, just fucking hallucinating out of their goddamn minds.
yeah, I mean they
Um,
had entire divisions to it, and they even had like at least one American spy that actively worked to take him down or to take like them down. I don't know if you've seen the documentaries, but in the first one, he gets like chased by a boulder and opens a arc, and then in like
I did not think of that went over my head until you said that.
the
Oh
second
my
one,
god.
for some reason, he fights an Indian death cult. But then like
Oh,
the third one, it goes back to essentially finding the Holy Grail in a direct race against the Nazis.
that's interesting. And are we just not gonna talk about the fourth and fifth documentaries?
The fourth
They
one, I think the fourth one just came out this year. That was the one where he finally realized he was too old for his day and age, and but he
No,
was
that was
once.
the fifth one.
I don't know what you're referring. There is no fifth one.
The fourth
Oh,
the
you're
fourth
talking.
one is
You're
the fourth
you're
one is the alien one,
you're
man.
you're talking about Indiana Jones and the Emperor's Tomb for the Xbox. I thought that was pretty good too. Don't get me wrong. I don't know if I'll necessarily like put it in the same
Does
field as
Crystal Skull
movies.
just not exist for you?
What's
Does
the
Crystal
crystal
Skull
skull? I've said,
Yo.
is this something I need to research?
Okay.
What?
All right. Let's let's so meanwhile we also have a description of a tulpa via the spiritualist Alexandra David Neal. Um, claims to have seen the practice of tulpas in Tibet, which I guess answered my question about Eastern cultures. She described them as magical formations created by a concentration of thought. She also believed that once a tulpa is endowed with enough vitality, it will inevitably break free of its maker's control, which is frightening, to be honest with you.
Yeah, this is
Um,
like you're messing with magic, and you're essentially creating a jinn to like be alongside of you. But the same way that we have free will over nothing in this world, like we can't control anything other than how we respond to like situations. So what fucking God-given right makes us think we can create an ethereal being that we gave birth to?
that's
It,
true.
it'd be the same as like trying to control your kid. That's
So, and I kind of like Alexandra here because she's willing to. She claims that she created her own tulpa based off of a friar monk, um, but she's also willing to admit that it may just have been a hallucination created by her and not technically a tulpa. Though she does claim that other people could see her friar monk buddy. And she also, the reason that I'm assuming she came up with this theory that they can inevitably break free of their maker's control is because her friar monk buddy did so, and she had to destroy him or her. I'm assuming it's a him if it's a friar monk, but
no. I mean, keep in mind this is all within the minds of the people. So, so what they're seeing when they're like, "Be gone, Tulpa," and waving it away and shooting mental fucking spears at it or whatever the fuck. We're just seeing some chick in their room holding their head and be like, "Pew, pew! I fire my
well,
psychic beam at you."
not necessarily, because she claims that others could also see her thought form, her tulpa.
Listen, if you're a fucking 10 out of 10, which I assume she probably was, yeah, I'm gonna lie and say I see her Topa too, because then I might be like, oh, get a little lucky tonight.
Um, I don't know. I'd give her like a 6 out of 10.
Well, I mean, what time period?
Well, she lived until 1969, and she was born in 1868. I mean, she died when she was 100. So
What's the name?
Alexandra David, I'm gonna keep saying Neil, but I think it's actually like Nail.
Hold on, I'm gonna look this chick up.
She was an explorer,
Well,
spiritualist, a Buddhist, and an anarchist. I think Max would fall in love.
dude, this is totally Max. Like, we need to like take Max back in time and hook him up.
I wonder if she had red hair. If she had red hair, boom, done for.
Done.
Um, so as we were explaining, essentially tulpas are imaginary friends willed into being through mental concentration. So they're imaginary in the sense of they're very personable, like they're very attached to the person, they're created by the individual. Not so imaginary in the sense that they, from what I can gather, may actually be able to interact with our material plane if I'm assuming strong enough, if they have enough energy to them. Um, This one I found surprising. So the more people involved in the formation of a tulpa, the stronger it is. So I can only assume, if we follow that logic, that if multiple people are involved in the formation of a tulpa, it would get characteristics from all the people, right?
Yes. In fact,
Interesting.
if you want a great example of this, the two girls that stabbed their friend in the Midwest, I believe, because Slenderman told them to do it.
Yes, I do remember that. Yeah, yeah.
At that point, it's like Slenderman's a tulpa.
Gotcha. Okay, that's a really good example. Okay, that's a really, really good example. Okay. That really kind of hit it home for me. That kind of brought it down to earth for me. That was a good example. Um, Tulpamancers consider them being the tulpas themselves sentient and capable of free will, which does mean tulpas will grow with you, learn from you, whatever you experience. They experience by proxy, whatever you're thinking, however you're rationalizing things. I would assume that they rationalize things very similar. And tulpas are kept alive by belief in them, which is what you were saying, right? With Freddy Krueger, Pete's Dragon, and Tinkerbell. Just one quick thing about Tinkerbell. I never suggest anybody actually read the book Peter Pan, um, because the end of that book is extremely sad.
Why? What happens to
Because,
Tinkerbell?
dude, so the end of the book of Peter Pan is like over the course of it's like an epilogue, and it's like over the course of like 50 years, right? And so, um, like it's not Tinkerbell, but like Peter Pan comes like and like keeps checking up on I think like Wendy and stuff like that. And at one point Peter Pan comes back like 20, 30, 40 years later, and he is telling her that Tinkerbell died. Um and she basically, when Tinkerbell dies, no one can remember that Tinkerbell ever lived.
Good
She's
job,
she's
guys.
she's
You know what?
essentially just wiped from existence.
You should have fucking clapped during the movie, you fucking assholes. You killed Tinkerbell. I
And
clapped
so
every single time I saw that. I was like, let's bring Tinkerbell back.
and so it's just like this one, I'm pretty sure in the epilogue it's like one paragraph, but it's basically like, I think it's Peter Pan basically being like, yeah, Tinkerbell died, and Wendy's just like, who? Like, what are you talking about?
That
Who?
bitch.
um,
That seems like competition's out of the way. Peter Pan's all mine now.
so tulpamancers are the individuals, it's the name of the individuals that regularly conjured tulpas. The practice did gain popularity in the late 20th century via science fiction shows and novels. I don't know if you have any specific examples, but I don't.
Wait, what do you mean?
Like you said, it gained popularity in the late 20th century via science fiction shows and novels. Do you have any? Do you have any specific examples of
No,
shows or novels? Yeah. Okay.
no, I don't.
Moving along, awkwardness. Tulpamancers believe that tulpas can interact with them in ways that exist outside their own thoughts, which would be a good example of what you just brought up of the two girls in the Midwest, right?
Yeah.
Um, some practitioners even report being able to see, hear, and touch their tulpas, um, which makes sense, right? I mean, that's the whole point of it, right?
I mean, yeah, because you want it to be as real as it possibly can be. Uh, and to you, it could be very real. Look,
Who this is gonna tell you how imaginative of a person I am. Did you have an imaginary friend growing up?
yes,
Can I ask you the name of your imaginary friend?
I don't want to say
Okay.
it.
My imaginary friend, just everybody, so you can see how creative I am. I'm a lot more creative nowadays, but when I was a child, my imaginary friend was Casper, the friendly ghost. I just literally stole it. My imaginary friend was stolen from a movie of my childhood.
All right, fine. Mine was Ryu from Street Fighter.
Oh, all right. That actually makes me feel better. That makes me feel better that you also grabbed it from somebody else.
Yeah, it's almost like media influenced us growing up.
Well, yeah, but I that just makes me feel a little bit better. That makes me feel better.
I,
I know a kid who had an imaginary friend whose name was Bob, and no one could figure out where Bob came from.
I like the Casper movie. I still remember to this day going and seeing that film in theaters.
Oh, dude, yeah, the movie was fucking banger.
And they had like one of the fast food restaurants had like three uncles on top of the cups.
Yeah, man, dude, Christina Ricci, fucking banger.
Yep. I mean, she was like 12 and
No, I mean a banger of an actress. I don't mean like bang her. Yeah, all right, that might have not been the right choice of words there, you fucking dickhole.
oh, somebody had to say it. You know,
Um,
I loved Christina Ricci, and I still love Christina Ricci. I remember when I went up to her at like WonderCon, back in DC, and she was signing photos, and I was like, "Don't fuck it up, don't fuck it up, don't say the wrong thing." And I get up there, and I'm just like, I really appreciate the happiness you brought to my childhood.
dude, I mean she's the OG Wednesday, bro. I mean,
Yeah,
I guess technically she's not the OG Wednesday, but
no, but she's the one that made Wednesday fashionable.
that's true. All right, so just a little bit back on track here. One of the most important notes to know about tulpomancers is that they believe that tulpas exist outside of paranormal parameters. Um, though there is a group of tulpomancers that believe some paranormal occurrences exist because of tulpas. For instance, poltergeist activity could be stemming from negatively charged, powerful tulpas, which is again fucking frightening. Um, this so there was a survey done by Samuel Paul Lewis Vizier. He's PhD from McGill University. Looks like he's an assistant professor in the Division of Social and Transcultural Psychiatry. So if anybody's interested, um, you can look up maybe some of his work, some of his books. But it's definitely something that he's written about. Um, and he found that of all the tulpomancers that he studied, 8.5%, 8.5% believe that tulpas stem from the metaphysical realm. 76.5% accept a neurological or psychological origin, and 14% accept an otherworldly explanation or paranormal origin.
All right, let me explain this and
Yeah, go ahead.
put your tin hat on because guys, it's about to get weird. The metaphysical realm is the realm that's like the fucking planes of existence between the dimensions, the one I had talked about. Crowley believed that every time we die, we reincarnate on the next dimension. So the planes of existence or the astral plane is essentially the void between them. And people like we walk it as energy goes. So when we die, that's where we go, creating our own like fucking heaven or hell, whatever we believe we want, until we realize that we have ultimate control of our. Now, that's when we decide whether we want to chill out there or reincarnate. And in Crowley's fucking belief, if you reincarnate, you're reincarnating the next dimension. You're not going back to the same one that you're already at. And you can, I guess, there's might sound wacko, but there are people out there that. Okay, I'm going way too far off on left field with that. The psychological origin is like a physical manifestation of the being via a neurological like fucking complex. So if you're sitting there and you're thinking very very hard about it and you make it like your reality, your perception of it, essentially you've brought it into what you consider real, and that would be the neurological complex of it. And that might be like, oh, there could be something else going on with the brain because only this person sees it.
Hmm.
The otherworldly or paranormal origin of the fucking thing means that it like got some kind of ghost, like a ghost residue. Like, let's say somebody dies. Another thing, like Crowley believed, is that when people died, they left their shell here and they went up to like whatever they're headed. And their shell is essentially like just their emotions. They're like almost spiritual being, like parts of it, but not enough to make a whole. So Tulpas would be the manifestation of that. Now,
Oh, interesting. Okay.
now we're getting into where it gets weird because I believe it's everything, right? Like we begin it with a neurological idea, like a fucking I want a tulpa because I want a friend. And if we believe hard enough, we eventually conjure it into our perception of reality, whether that be through subconscious thought, where we're sitting there deluding ourselves that a being is there, or we've actually manifested a metaphysical being. And that would be from the metaphysical realm that we called down from the in between lanes and stuffed them into one of the paranormal shells that are left behind when people die. Plus, I am of a firm belief that all ghosts, aliens, cryptids, and various other things of that nature all come from a different dimension than ours. They're all a piece of the same thing that we can't understand yet because we haven't gotten to the next level of learning.
So it's basically just physics for you.
Yeah, physics is mixed with spirituality and stuff.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. Ultimately, if you're saying they're coming from other dimensions, there's really no spirituality about it. I mean, it's basically just the nature of the universe, and other dimensions. So for you, it's just science and physics.
Oh, well, then sit back for a second and hear me out on this, right? Sound governs the universe. So everything vibrates, and that's why with some of the old like banishing spells of demons, it's not like "be gone, demon." It's like Yahweh. It's the words of God. It's the actual names of God, because those syllables and nouns together form something powerful that drives away negative energy. This is something that like the Judahists believe, occultists in the medieval era believe, up until today, when they still use the lesser key and greater key of Solomon to conduct rituals. This is old school magic. It's not fucking going onto Google and learning how to do a card trick. These are people that dealt with the forces of nature on their terms and learned how to overcome them. So
Hmm.
my mentality is, before we get way too off field, everything vibrates, everything's controlled by sound. Sound is measured by physics, and if you really boil it down to the very core of its being, the entire universe needs to be balanced at all times, which means ones and zeros. That's binary. We're living in a simulation.
Yeah. Even if we're living in a simulation, I don't really think that profoundly changes anything all that much.
No, it really doesn't. I just, I'm just waiting for them to fucking
Turn it off. Bloop.
yeah. Oh, and by the way, I meant science measures the sound and gives us the results, which always end up being yes or no. Did this happen? Cause and effect.
Hmm. Interesting.
So,
I like that. I like that a lot. I don't really have
physics
that much to add to it, to be honest with you.
physics interweaves with spirituality very well. It's just so many people want to keep them separate.
That I like, right? Because I firmly believe that too, right? Um, I don't think I could have put it as so concise as you just did or succinctly, but I've always thought the same thing too, that spirituality was before we had the tools to measure and the advances in mathematics and things like that. Spirituality was a way to connect to those things and explain those things, and it was real. It is real, right?
Yeah.
Um, and it's just as, like you said, as we've become more advanced, have better technology, better tools, learn more about the universe around us. Those two things start merging into one. I don't think they were ever completely separate. So I agree with everything you just said.
Oh, well, thank you.
I really like that.
And now,
So
and the whole point of this, like the whole uh thing I'm trying to make, like that whole story is this, guys. Don't be mad at Blizzard because you think they fucked up Diablo. Be mad at whoever's running our simulation because they haven't uploaded the fucking Alien DLC yet that we were promised 50
Jesus.
years ago. We just got a
Oh
beta
man.
test, and I still haven't seen an Alien myself.
What a fucking segue. Mic dropped. Um, so other than that little detour that we just took, we have been talking about tulpas and tulpamancy as kind of like a whimsical, kind of you want a friend type deal, right? You're lonely, you want a friend, maybe you need some help or advice. But there are dangers to tulpamancy, and not all tulpas are super fantastic best friends. Okay, um, some tulpas, as we kind of alluded to earlier, um, fucking suck children into TVs because the Indians or
Yeah,
Native Americans,
that
excuse me, the Native Americans that some douchebag white family built their house on top of, summoned a poltergeist.
well that tulpa is actually called Minecraft, and it happens pretty much like every day.
um, but so there are tulpas that can be created as disturbing and dangerous thought forms. If their own creator has some type of dark and twisted mindset. You should never create a tulpa under the following conditions. Tulpas born from negativity, which are thought forms eventually gain sentience and free will, and so therefore they're sort of initially like children, right? You will them into existence, and they kind of don't know what's going on, right? It's your job to kind of lead them through the experience that they're having. So they will adapt the thought patterns and mentality of their creator. And if the tulpamancer is negative and depressed, the tulpa will most likely also be negative and depressed.
It's kind of like it's almost like our last two presidents were. Like because Trump acted like a child who shouldn't be in charge of a nuclear bomb, and Biden's still trying to figure out how to put circles into circles and squares into squares.
Yeah, dude, he's. I'm really upset that he's. I don't want to get political, but I really think the DNC should have tried to get someone new in there, but not my place, right?
Yeah.
Um, so tulpas can be suicidal, which I thought was fascinating, right? But they do have sentience and free will.
so,
So
so if you royally piss off your tulpa, it's
I
gonna
don't know
kill itself.
I don't know exactly how a tulpa kills itself, but
They make a tulpa
um,
shotgun and stick it in their tulpa mouth.
um,
After the
and
people have tulpa complained for the past 5 hours.
and obviously this doesn't help anyone, right? Because then you have two depressed personalities to deal with, and negativity breeds negativity.
Yeah, you guys are
The
gonna argue over which Law and Order episode to watch.
Are you over what?
Over which Law and Order episode to watch.
Oh my god, don't even. I don't watch Law and Order, but I have some friends that are obsessed with it, and I'm like, it's the same episode every single time. I don't understand why. Like, there's thousands of episodes of it's just the same thing. I don't understand. Um, then there are tulpas born from violence, which are obviously when tulpamancers create their thought forms that tend to superimpose their favorite characteristics into the tulpa. So if your favorite characteristic is violence and bloodshed, then your tulpa will, take on these characteristics. Think Kratos.
Kratos should not make a tulpa. That's like a great way to level a city.
Um, Thanos shouldn't make a tulpa. That'd be bad news for everybody.
What if they both snapped at the same time?
You know who really shouldn't make a tulpa is the Emperor, Palpatine. I mean, Jesus Christ, that would just be that'd
I
be like
mean,
the end of the universe.
that would explain at least fucking episode 9. Oscar Isaac, when they asked him,
Dude,
how did the
that
Emperor come back? I don't know.
That would have been so much better of a plot point if Ray turned out to be Palpatine's Tulpa.
Yes. Yeah, or
Like
like a
rather
thought.
than his granddaughter, she was like willed into existence by the Force.
I mean, look. Think about it this way, right? Thought force energy ghost.
Now that would be a Tulpa with the Force.
Yeah.
We'd be all screwed. That would
Boom.
be all.
And then
Like,
Oscar Isaac could be like, it was a fucking tulpa. And people would be like, oh shit, that's dope. Instead of being like, I don't know. I mean, look, if you got a fucking actor like Oscar Isaac in your film shrugging his shoulders and saying, I don't know, fix your fucking film.
um, So as we kind of explained with all the examples, with these bad people, tulpas are prone to mood swings and growing pains, and adding the tendency of violence or authoritarianism or anything like that is essentially like arming a bomb. So it's not uncommon to see death threats made to the family, friends, pets, and even the host himself from a violently inclined tulpa.
It's-
Um, the pets thing kind of threw me off there.
He's like, from pets towards, well,
Furthermore, tulpas inhabit the same headspace as you, so if you start thinking about shutting it down, that sucker's gonna know. Sucker's gonna know real quick.
yeah, but what's it
Um,
gonna, like, look, it's just sitting in the fucking corner of my room threatening my dog. I mean, good on you,
so
buddy. You
if
can't do
my
shit.
tulpa, if my tulpa ever threatened either of my dogs, I would destroy every fiber of its energy being bashing into the ground.
You would John Wick his ass.
I would John Wick his ass. I would burn down that Tulpa's house. I would fucking kill that Tulpa's family. I would create that Tulpa, a whole family, just to kill them all.
And then other topos down the street tell the story of this fat man who came on Christmas and murdered an entire Topa family.
Fucking threaten my dog Tulpa. But the sad truth is there are Tulpamancers out there who live in constant fear of their own Tulpa. Kind of sounds like it's their fault.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, right? I was listening to this Coast to Coast AM episode, and George Norrie was actually kind of pushing against this one. Um, but she had some interesting points. Like, she was like, when we die, because she had like 3 or 4 near death experiences
Oh.
in her life, or so she claims. You know, take all this with a grain of salt. But she said that when we die and ascend to the next level, we essentially create our own heaven and hell. So, like, if you die as a preacher knowing that you did something bad and you believe you're destined for hell, you're going to put yourself in hell. And people that are like, yeah, I wasn't too bad, you know, this is what I think I deserve, will get exactly what they want, but to the limit of what they think they deserve because that's how we are as humans. Right now, all of this is to cope for the transition into the next life. So eventually, at some point during this dream fantasy that we're having, we realize we have control over it. And it transitions us into the next spiritual realm. The same applies for tulpas. We could sit here and be like, hey, you know, this tulpa's out of control and this tulpa's doing this. But at the end of the day, you made that tulpa, you could put it back in the ground.
I I well, I'll do this at the end once we go through.
Yeah.
I have a theory. I have a theory about tulpas, but um, it's a love story. Tulpa, kissy kissy poo poo. Um, much like Taylor
Swift.
Lifts, much
Swift.
like Taylor Swift's love story.
We call her
A
Tay Tay.
romantic tryst, a romantic tryst with your tulpa can be new, fun, exciting, and full of sensual experiences. Also, like Taylor Swift, breakups occur. She's got so many, bro. Though you can't just write a song and walk away. No, you can't. And sometimes I feel like Taylor Swift can't. Imagine your worst ex partner. How was that breakup? Now imagine that 24/7 in your mind because tulpas don't just go away. Furthermore, tulpas are prone to jealousy. So if you decide to have a real life relationship or create another tulpa, boy, you are fucked. And let's face it, because we're all thinking it, we brought it up earlier. Don't fuck your tulpa. It's considered a taboo. Just like uh, step porn.
Like
So,
step porn.
so you're welcome for a new genre of taboo porn. Tulpas, tulpa fucking.
Help me, Tulpa brother. I'm stuck.
Oh man. Oh god. I want to know where that came from, right? What in our society someone was like, we should just start doing like step family porn. That's just the way to go, man. People fucking love that shit. And it's like who loves that shit? Who the
Listen,
fuck is watching that?
I saw this coming a mile away. And that, see what I did there? But Obi-Wan in Return of the Jedi said there's no greater cesspool in the universe. Wait, how did he describe Mos Eisley?
Yo, I don't remember it. That was
I'm.
in Return of the Jedi.
Oh no. Wait. It was in A New Hope. Uh, allow me to read the quote to you. Most Eisley, you will never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy. We must be cautious. That's the internet, dude. Obi-Wan predicted the internet as soon as it like arrived.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I mean, we were talking about it on the Stone Gauntlet, right? Like the very first thing that we did as a human race once we knew we could take pictures is we took pictures of naked people and we're like, isn't this fantastic?
Yeah, and the very next thing we did was complain about our food. well,
um so if you're thinking about, you know, going through the steps of creating your own tulpa, or I guess creating a tulpa, you should know the risks also of tulpa dependency, right? This, you know, happens in any relationships, especially if you're kind of creating one out of loneliness. But it's easy to create a tulpa and forget the rest of the world exists. Um, you know, why go to a friend's house when you have a tulpa? Why meet new people when you have a tulpa? Why talk to that cute person when you have a tulpa?
actually, I might
Uh,
just get myself a Tulpa. That sounds fucking great.
dude,
Like,
I'm telling you, just get yourself a body pillow then. I don't understand.
as I get older, I'm like, actually, I don't want to go to a friend's house, meet new people, or talk to some cute chick. I kind of
Well, I
just
mean,
want to get my food and go home.
yeah, I mean, I'm the same way, but you still have friends you socialize with. It's not like you don't.
Yeah, but I don't have to go to people's houses. I can
Well, yeah,
sit on
I
my
mean,
couch. I can literally do what I'm doing right now and just sit on my couch, socialize
yeah.
with my friends.
Um, but dependency on your tulpa for every emotional need can lead to alienation, Crook, Kirby, and neglect of important relationships, Kirby.
This sounds perfect. So people are gonna start leaving me alone. Like I'm making a tulpa.
I That's it. I'm talking to Max, and we're gonna get ahead on this, and we're gonna do a tulpa intervention before you have a chance to
Like,
get a tulpa.
I haven't even named my tulpa yet, and
It
already
doesn't
you're
matter.
going to
Yeah,
intervene it.
that's why it's gonna be preventative. I bet we could, if it's gonna be preventative care, I bet we could get the insurance to pay for it.
You know what You know what I'm naming her?
What?
Lilith.
I hate you so much.
Can't wait to see a gigantic demonic chick sitting at the end of my hallway.
All right. Well, since you want a tulpa so bad, there are some benefits that come with it. Okay. You know, while those dependency conditions are can be wackadoodle, there are various benefits. So there is increased happiness. 93% of tulpa mancers report a positive experience with their tulpas. Also, where the fuck did that number come from?
Listen, all right, 75% of all statistics are just made.
You can have increased self confidence. So tulpas can help you find your footing in social situations. They can help with self discovery, which will help you aid and guide you towards self improvement. Um, You can have improved empathy and understanding as they offer a separate point of view to your own, even though they are you and you are them and we are all us. And this may help you approach situations differently. So, um, sharper memory, since the topo exists, in your brain cavity, it is able to help you remember and recall things that may be forgotten. They can help you.
Clearly, I don't have a tulpa then, because I forget all sorts of shit.
um, they can control your emotions, which help you calm down and concentrate when needed.
Yep,
Companionship is
definitely don't have a
an
tulpa.
obvious one. Is an obvious one. Let me get through these first. And tulpas are basically the friend that is always there, and improvement of psychological disorders, which I want to be careful with this one. So we're going to put a little bit of a disclaimer on this. While tulpa won't cure depression, ADHD, and anxiety, it will help ease it during those times when a friend is wanted. So essentially, what tulpas are good at can also be achieved by reaching out, getting help, talking with friends, experts, professionals about things. Um, you know, if anybody out there is feeling depressed, has ADHD, anxiety, those things, it's okay to talk about it. And I would highly suggest speaking with a professional.
I was going to make a joke, but I can't. That's such a fucking one of those moments. Like Sarah McLaughlin playing in the background.
I just wanted to put the PSA out there. All right. I mean, if you're having some serious issues, don't just lock yourself in a dark room and try to will an imaginary friend, please.
For $1 a day, you too can help depression and ADHD people. Not create tulpas
Um.
that will destroy them.
Oh God. So yeah. So you're gonna get a tulpa, man, huh? You're gonna try to. Although I feel like if you get Lilith as your tulpa, it's gonna be more of these dangerous. I don't think Lilith would make
Okay,
a very
let's look.
good tulpa.
What's the worst thing that Lilith can do? Um,
Convince you to brainwash all of humanity to fight by her side and die by the thousands, even
so
millions
what you're saying is I would
for
be a
her own
commander of
selfish
Hell
reasons.
Legions and like fucking overrun the entire world
I
while banging
mean,
a sweet she demon.
yeah, but I don't think it would be you taking over the world, man. I think it would be you walking down the street of your city and then getting shot by like six cops.
Is an Icelandic fucking metal song playing in the background? Because that's the only way to complete this entire fucking
Yeah,
like.
in your head, you're probably and you're like waving your arms down the sidewalk shirtless, like with like fucking war paint on you. And these cops are probably gonna think that you're like on PCP and just fucking blow you to the
I
ground.
mean, if I'm seeing Lilith in my hallways, I'm probably on PCP.
And you have to be like, no, bro, it's Lilith. Lilith is with me. You should join. And they're like, bring them down. Pop, 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 pop.
What for walking down the street? These fucking cops these days.
Well, yeah,
They
for
can
real.
they
He's
can get
shirtless
him
and has more paint. Shoot him.
in. He's walking his dog. That's a danger. Shoot him. It's
Oh
like
my god.
I want to put it past him.
All right. So, how to create a tulpa. Kirby said this at the beginning, and actually throughout this. Magic and spirituality takes time, patience, and dedication. So, creating a tulpa requires intense mental concentration and time. This is needed as tulpas can be lifelong friends, so the effort here counts. The more you put in, the more you're going to get back, like real world relationships. First, plan your tulpa. What does it look like? What are the primary and secondary characteristics of the tulpa? And what is the purpose of the tulpa?
Let's see.
Um,
Demonic with horns, kind of palish skin, red eyes, and wings. Definitely giant bat wings. The
mm,
primary, secondary. She's the daughter of hate, so probably hate. And for the secondary, I'd put a love of Indiana Jones films, so that
Uh,
way we can like watch them on occasion. And then, the purpose of the Tulpa to enslave and destroy all of mankind.
I love how you said the love of Indiana Jones, which means she's gonna love all five of them. Which
Minus. Yeah. What do you? There's no fifth one. Wait, are you talking about the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles? Because those weren't bad, but that was technically a TV series.
oh my God, they had an Indiana Jones TV series.
Yeah, it was called the Adventures of Young Indiana Jones, and they had I think they had someone narrate it that was famous, and then the younger versions of Indy were played by like Sean Flannery and whatnot.
Oh my God, 1992.
Harrison Ford showed up in one episode.
This shit's got to be so bad.
It's on Disney Plus.
I am watching it tomorrow, 100% while I clean my kitchen. 100%.
Oh my god.
Wait, dude, was this on the air for like 10 years? What is
Yes,
going on? That cannot be right.
the 90s
How
were
did I
different times. All right, we
how
had
did I
bell
miss
bottoms. We actually had record stores in
Oh, this is a
arcades.
TV series from 2002 to 2008. Now I'm confused. Why did it say the
How was
first
it
episode?
2002?
I don't know. It said this says it first aired on 1992, March 4th on ABC. But then when
I
I go to the IMDb, it says 2002 to 2008. It also says TVMA, which
No,
cannot be right.
no, no. It was 1992. I'm pretty sure I was playing Pokemon Snap at some point during that like Indiana Jones time period when that was on TV. So
Yeah,
it was the early 90s, Holmes.
yeah, it definitely was.
Back when we didn't expect too much from video games. I mean, we got like Gauntlet Dark Legacy was the Diablo we had on consoles.
Which
Um,
is a great game.
Still a great game. I'd still play the shit out of that.
How
Wizard
do you
needs
play
food.
it?
What?
How do you play it?
You can't. I'm waiting for them to remake it. Like I know that they've remade technically Gauntlet Legends or one of the old gauntlets for like the PlayStation, but I want Dark Legacy and I want Legends, which was like Diablo but bite-sized. And
Me and
it
my roommate have been looking for a GameCube and a copy of it, and that's all we want the GameCube for. It's just that one game.
honestly, I would get the GameCube for that and Wind Waker
Oh, that's true. All right. The
and
next
Twilight
step
Princess. But yeah, go on.
after you've decided that your Tulpa's Lilith is to visualize her. Many believe that a meditative state must first be achieved, which makes sense if it requires a lot of time and concentration. After the Tulpamancer has envisioned their thought form ghost over and over again, they try to imagine every angle, sounds, smells,
Sulfur.
taste.
She's like, "Rawr!" But she also's
Um,
got a very soft sound. I
you
can
should
imagine her angles.
imagine touching her, Lilith, and making physical contact in your mind, but always ask for consent before you physically touch.
I'm gonna bring a
Um,
Hollywood contract to Lilith and be like, listen, whatever happens past this point, just know we're under contract.
And basically, you're supposed to do this until the details become second nature. So you're just going to keep repeating the process, imagining, maybe dictating or repeating the characteristics or the visualizing what they look like, and it's just a repetitive process.
So what you're saying
Um,
is I could play Diablo while doing it.
no, because I don't think that would be considered a meditative state. I
I
think that
mean,
would be
what?
too much of a distraction.
If you throw fucking Pink Floyd on, suddenly you got a meditative state during Diablo.
I think you'd be better off doing it in silence, man. So all of your concentration is focused on willing this other being into being.
Yeah, that's like awesome, and I love that. But 50% of me still has to like finish that battle pass, and if it's not doing that, and I'm over here pretending to fucking tulip into being so that way, God knows what, I'm not completing Blizzard's objectives set forth to me by the company.
Oh, all right, you little fucking sheep over here. Okay.
No,
The
no, no,
next
no,
step.
no, no. Okay, that's not a logical debate, but I will give you one right now. So, here's why you can create a Lilith Tulpa and play Diablo at the same time.
All right, let's hear it.
Sitting there concentrating on Lilith is great, but then she's going to come out half baked. But if I'm sitting there playing Diablo and knowing what Lilith looks like and
I'm
concentrating on the
picturing
very,
some sort of like warped Rick Sanchez clone
God,
when you say Lilith comes out half baked.
I'm like, this is fucking bullshit.
There's like a fucking goo of Lilith being like, killing me, so much
And I'd be
pain.
like, oh, he's got a portal gun. Sweet. That's, you're good, and then I'd shoot him. Um, man, can you imagine Tulpa giving me a portal gun? You just completely derailed my argument. I'm thinking of Rick Sanchez crawling through the house and at first being horrified, but then being like, oh, he has a fucking gun that shoots him to any dimension that exists anywhere. Uh, I'm going. That's like I'm going on adventures after that.
My God. All right, let's. Where do we leave off here? Um, so once you've played your 1,000 hours of Diablo
Oh
and you
yeah,
have
right.
Lilith's every details down to the most minute little sweat bead rolling off her ass cheek, the next step is to try to
I'll
speak
have
and
to
interact.
also look at models of her nude, just so I know every angle. So I'm gonna have to spend a couple hours doing that too.
You're probably gonna have to spend hundreds of hours doing that,
Yeah, at
but
least a couple of 100 hours a night, because I really got to study those.
the next step is to speak and interact with your tulpa. So you want your direct attention towards the tulpa and you want to start communicating with it without any expectation of any sort of response or stimuli coming back your way, right? Eventually, the tulpa will come forward with a voice of its own, though this could take a lot of time. Like we said, months of time. So you got to be patient. All of this spirituality and magic takes time and
Like
patience.
at least 2 seasons of Diablo.
At least two
So,
seasons of Diablo.
so you're
Um,
gonna want to be getting those Malignant hearts, and then whatever comes next.
so interacting with your tulpa requires intense imagination at first. Most tulpamancers call the plane where you meet with them the Wonderland. In your case, I guess it would just be one of the planes of hell.
Probably. I mean, whatever. Which one's the nicest? Like maybe one of those planes has bonsai trees. I don't
And
know.
then the final step is to ultimately incorporate the tulpa into your life. So think about your tulpa doing stuff with you, like working, walking, learning,
Burning
being a
down
pillow
stuff.
next to you. Oh, yeah, putting down stuff.
I'm charging me to slave all humanity and send them to the
And,
depths of hell.
and a great way to do this would be to take a walk and imagine the tulpas hanging out with you. Eventually, you will feel the tulpa's presence.
I'm sorry. Do you think of Michael Jackson too when you said Wonderland? It's like, come on, kids, come on,
I no, I did not
we're going to
actually, to be
Topaland.
honest with you.
I'm like,
Um,
that sounds fucking horrible.
the fucking train in that episode, he's got like a little train in his backyard. It's so good. So good.
Hey kids, come on, let's go to
If
Wonderland.
no, if you don't know what we're talking about, just Google or research South Park Michael Jackson. They're some of the best episodes they have ever done. He's
What
one of the
was
best
what did he
characters.
always say? He's like, that's ignorant. That's no,
Yes,
that's
yes, that's
ignorant.
ignorant. That's ignorant. You're so ignorant. And it's
We don't
like,
have Topas here. That's ignorant.
all right. So if you do manage to conjure your own tulpa, and it happens to be Lilith, the daughter of hatred, the destroyer of worlds.
And immediately
Um,
fucking what's that? A song of fire and ice starts playing from
yeah,
Led Zeppelin.
you should probably try to banish your tulpa. Um, it's best not to kill the tulpa off, even though I said I would if it threatened my dogs. I 100% would. As you may want to bring your Tulpa back one day,
The
unless it
Immigrant
threatens
Song
your dogs.
by Led Zeppelin will start playing as
There you
soon as
go. Yeah.
Lilith materializes.
So what would you want to do is you would want to try to visualize setting your Tulpa free. After this done, ghost them like Tinder, baby. Just stop answering that phone. Don't respond to those text messages. You say fuck y'all, Tulpa.
Leave him like you left the puppy after the pandemic.
Oh my god.
And you
All
will
right.
be
If
fine.
there's any listeners, any, which we don't have many, but if you are one of them and you got a dog during COVID and then brought it back to a shelter or fucking abandoned it after the COVID, I don't want you as a listener.
Shame on you.
I only may be a special guest, but if there's one power that I can be given on this podcast, it's choosing our own goddamn audience. And you are not welcomed.
Actually, I second Alex's play on that. If you play with the emotions of an animal, you're animal out of here.
Yeah, I shouldn't. That was really horrible.
Those are
Um,
really bad.
that was really bad. So the human mind functions in a way that connections eventually fade when not used, which makes sense, right? It's the plasticity of our neurons. And by completely ignoring your tulpa, you will eventually lose contact with it. Um, the one thing I want to say before you say anything else is I found tulpas really interesting because it's a really good way of describing human psychology. I find it really fascinating. Like if you were to take it purely in a scientific sense without the spiritual homo mangible momo, um, I think it can be very useful just as a therapeutic psychological thing, right? Um, it's just kind of the perfect metaphor for the human psyche, I guess would be the best way of putting it.
Well, it's an astral projection of yourself, essentially. I mean, it's recognizing that we're more than what we assume we are, but don't get caught up in it. It's like the fucking Harry Potter scene where Harry sits in front of the mirror night after night after night, and Dumbledore is eventually like, you know, it does not. No, many people have lost their lives in front of this mirror. It does not do to chase dreams and forget to live. You know.
Yeah. Yep.
So if you're making a tulpa purely to keep you alive, reach out for help. Uh, if you're trying to do it as a way to better yourself, you might find portions of you that you need to work on. Like if a fucking angry tulpa comes out, you might be like, "Oh, I got an anger problem." You know.
Yeah. No, I really I'm interested in reading more on my own in more detail about tulpas because like I said, I don't necessarily believe that you're actually creating something, and this is my own belief, but I don't think you're actually creating something of any type of like substance or sentience or free will. But I find it interesting as a metaphor of being able using it as a tool to be able to reflect on your own subconscious that maybe you normally would not access yourself, and
I
I
mean,
think that could be very helpful at making you a better person
technically,
or
yes.
helping you in challenges or obstacles or things like that.
And the Tibetan monks probably saw it that way. Like, I mean, as a way to self-reflect on the qualities inside ourselves that need to be worked on. And people probably read that and went, "Ghosts! I can make ghosts." And that's what it became, you know? So,
Fucking white people, man.
so, so I think tulpas are exactly that, just a way for us to look at ourselves outside of ourselves and
Yeah,
go,
exactly. Yep.
these are the qualities that need to be improved. Uh, Technically, any self-help book is essentially making tulpa.
Let's not go that far because there's some pretty trash self-help books
Listen,
out there.
I've read the Tucker Max guide to self-help. Actually, I didn't, but I did read the first 10 pages of what was it? Basically, how to tell people to go fuck themselves. But
I read the first 10 pages and I was like, huh. So all you need to do is tell people to go fuck themselves. Got it.
no, it was a fucking what's that? Uh, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, which is actually a fantastic read. It's made by a New York
Oh,
writer.
I've seen that.
Yeah, he within the first like few chapters, he talks about this thing called the cycle of self defeat. The cycle of self defeat is this mentality that's like I fucked up, and then it's like the next step is where did I fuck up, and the next step after that is like I did this, and then the next step after that is like oh I'm a shitty person, and then it's why am I a shitty person? Oh because I fucked up.
Mark Manson.
Where
If
did I fuck
anybody
up?
out if anybody out there wants to grab a copy or something, it's The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson.
Yeah, and it's like he's describing is what we do to a lot of things, which is where we take something to it in its entirety and just repeat it and repeat it and repeat it. There's no solutions in that. The only way to really break that is to go like, I'm not a bad person. I made a mistake. And to essentially look at yourself in a different form of light. And tulpas in that sense can help you because you
Yeah.
can look at that and be like, abstract yourself from the problem and be like, okay, this is what I need. Like I can't be stuck in the circle forever.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Yeah. But don't make one just a fuck one, okay? Unless she's a fucking demon queen of hell. And you know that
Or
the two
she's
of you were destined to be together, but you just exist on different like
or she's an
dimensions.
anime character on a body pillow.
Yeah, that works too.
All right, you got anything else to say?
No, we'll do some quick shout outs. Shout out to John Zara. He's got a YouTube channel at JOHNZARRA. We also released our Stone Gauntlet basically twice in a row because we forgot to release June. And then we needed to get July out so that way we can kind of focus on what August is going to be. So the release schedule might look a little weird, but that's not going to be the norm going forward. The other thing, let's see. We're available on all platforms, so if you're listening to this on Spotify but you want to listen to it on Apple, we're there too. You can also find us at Crook Irish Studios, that is our YouTube page, and our Twitch channel, which is like Crook Irish, I believe. Yeah, it's just Crook Irish. Subscribe to us on one of those. We do our shows live on the weekend. If you want to come in and talk and chat with us, we're okay with that too. Anything you want to add, Alex?
Mm, no, not really.
All right. My name is Kenny Crook Irish Kirby. Keep it weird out there, guys.
And my name is Special Guest Alex, and ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-dong.
Ding a ling a ling a dong. Couldn't have put it better myself.
Good night, good luck, and good hunting. No, I don't like that. Let
And
me
good
retry
will
that.
hunting with Matt Damon.
But as always, I don't say it every time, but everyone keep to their dreams. Do what you think would make you a better person in this world, and help somebody out tomorrow.
What is this? A prepared fucking speech? The Return to the King? You're just gonna give us 30 different endings? I've already put the stream as ending screen up.
And I also want to add, let me try another one. It's been great knowing you and having you along with us on this journey of ours.
And then
Join us next time on the adventures of Crooked Murder.
And then afterwards, Saruman returned to the Shire, and he managed to burn down everything and turn it into an industrial complex. So Bilbo and Frodo came in,